Hello friends, this is Sanjay from lamin.com. Welcome to part 6 of this video series. In each part, we are covering two passages from the CLAT PG 2021 question paper. In this part, which is part 6, we will be touching upon passages 11 and 12 and the 12 questions associated with these two passages. If you have started watching this video series from somewhere in the middle, I will strongly recommend please start from part 1 onwards, which is where I have given an introduction about the CLAT PG examination, the pattern of this particular previous paper, and also touched upon the strategy that you can use while preparing for the exam and attempting the questions from this previous question paper. And I'll also recommend that you should download the previous question paper and read through the passages in advance, and that will help you better understand the discussion that we are going to have in this video. And you can also pause the video wherever required and read through the passages which are also included in the video itself. So let's get started. Passage 11 has been taken from a 2013 case titled Natasha Singh versus CBI. The length of this passage is 224 words. It's a fairly short passage. You can pause the video here and read the passage which is visible on the screen. In question number 61, we are being asked to identify that in which of the following cases the Supreme Court of India held that an application under section 311 of the CrPC could not be rejected on the sole ground that the case has been pending for an inordinate amount of time, in that case for 10 years. Now this is a tricky question. First thing is this is a general awareness question because the information required to answer this question is not specifically mentioned within the passage. And the reason I consider this to be a tricky question is because as I have mentioned, this particular passage has been taken from a case titled Natasha Singh versus CBI from the year 2013. And this also happens to be one of the answer choices. However, this is not the answer as per the official key. On the other hand, this particular question, the answer as per the official key is Manju Devi versus State of Rajasthan case from the year 2019. And in this particular case, it is mentioned that the length or duration of a case cannot displace the basic requirement of ensuring that just decision after taking all the necessary and material evidence on record. In other words, the age of a case by itself cannot be decisive of the matter when a prayer is made for examination of a material witness. Now, it would be very easy to identify this as the correct answer, that is option C as the correct answer, because that is the case from which the passage has been extracted. However, the Natasha Singh case is also discussed in the Manju Devi case, and this particular question is referring to the Manju Devi case, which is the correct answer choice. Question 62 reads, the power conferred upon a criminal code by section 311 of the Code of Criminal Procedure is which of the options? Now, before answering this question, let's understand the meaning of the words that are used in the answer choices. So mandatory means compulsory. So mandatory is usually not referred to a power that is conferred on somebody, because if I confer on you the power to sell something, then it is at your discretion whether you want to do it or not do it. But if I mandate it, saying that you have to sell this, then it is no longer a power because you are forced to do it. Therefore, if something is conferred, that is a power is conferred, then it cannot be mandatory. So this can be eliminated as an answer option. And if you look at the other two options, that is discretionary and permissive, these are essentially a similar word, because discretion means acting on one's own authority and judgment. That is, the court has the discretion to exercise the power that are conferred under section 311. It is not mandatory. Therefore, discretion is a correct answer. Similarly, permissive in the context of a permissive statute allows certain acts to be done without commanding that they should be performed. That is, the statute is conferring some powers on the court, but it is not commanding that the court should definitely do such acts. Therefore, both options B and C are correct, which is the correct answer as per the official answer key as well. This is both a general awareness question, because if you read through the question and the answer choices and you are aware of the meaning of these words, you will be able to identify which is the correct answer. And it is also a direct question because the clue to answering this question is indicated in the question itself in the form of the word conferred. Number 63 is asking us that if it appears to the court that an application under section 311 of the CrPC has been filed only to fill up a lacuna in the case of the prosecution or the defense should the court allow such an application? Now this is a direct question because if you understand what is the meaning of the word lacuna, which means unfulfilled space or a gap, then you'll be able to evaluate the answer choices, and just on the basis of the information within the question and the answer choices, you'll be able to select the correct answer. And it is also a general awareness question or even a case-based question because the specific answer to this question has been provided in the case. However, this particular part is not included in the passage. This particular extract from the Natasha Singh versus CBI case, from where the passage has been taken, reads that an application under section 311 of the CrPC must not be allowed to fill up a lacuna in the case of the prosecution or the defense. So this is precisely what is being asked here. So if you are aware of the case, or if you are generally aware about what exactly was discussed in the Natasha Singh versus CBI case, you will be able to identify that the correct answer is no. Or even from a direct perspective, if you are aware of what exactly is the meaning of the word lacuna, and you see which of the answers makes sense, then you will be able to see that if the prosecution or the defense is actually using an application under section 311 just to fill in some gap in their own case, then obviously this is prejudicial to the interests of the opposite party, and the court should definitely not allow this. Therefore, no is the correct answer from a general awareness perspective as well as from a direct answer perspective. Question 64. In which of the following circumstances should an application under section 311 of the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973 be allowed by the court? So till now we have been discussing about what are the situations when such an application should not be allowed, and this question is asking us to identify in which situation it should be allowed. Now this is a direct question because when we read through the passage, right, there is a specific mention of a specific phrase multiple times. For example, here it says essential to the just decision of the case, essential to the just decision of the case, and to determine the truth and render a just decision, and again to arrive at a just decision. Therefore, this has been emphasized multiple times in the judgment or in the extract that we have taken from the judgment. When we look at the answer choices, there is option A, which says that when allowing such an application enables the court to determine the truth and to render a just decision. This is something which is specifically mentioned in this part of the passage. Therefore, option A is the correct answer. And even when we read the other answer choices, they are obviously incorrect because option B says when allowing the application causes serious prejudice to the defense of the accused. Now, if it is causing serious prejudice to the defense of the accused, then this is a reason for rejecting or not actually accepting an application under section 311. Similarly, when we look at option C, it says that when allowing the application gives an unfair advantage to the opposite party. If it is giving unfair advantage, then this again should be a reason for rejecting the application under section 311 and not accepting it. And when we look at option D, it says both A and B. While A is the correct answer, we already know that B is incorrect. Therefore, both A and B cannot be the answer choice here. We are left with only one choice, that is option A. Question 65 is asking us that section 311 of the Code of Criminal Procedure imposes a duty on the court to which of these options? Now, this is a direct question because let's read this particular part of the passage that I've highlighted. The scope and objective of the provision is to enable the courts to determine the truth and to render a just decision after discovering all the relevant facts and obtaining proper proof of such facts to arrive at a just decision in the case. That is, the court has to first determine the truth and then to render a just decision on the basis of that such a truth. That is, the court has to first discover all the relevant facts and obtain proper proof of such facts and then arrive at a just decision. Now look at the answer choices. The answer choice as per the official key says simultaneously determine the truth and render a just decision. But I would say that this is probably an incorrect option because how can you simultaneously determine the truth and render a just decision? You first have to get all the facts and you have to obtain the proof for such facts, which is a situation where now you know the truth, and on the basis of this truth you are going to arrive at a just decision. So this is a process. You can't simultaneously or parallelly have both the discovery of truth and the just decision part at the same time, right? So simultaneously determining the truth and render a just decision is an obviously incorrect option. However, this is the answer as per the key. When you look at option B, it says that render a just decision after discovering all the relevant facts and obtaining proper proof of such facts. So this is precisely what has been mentioned in the passage. Therefore, option B should have been the correct option, even from a common sense perspective and also as per the details given in the passage. So I would go with answer B or answer choice B for question number 65. Question number 66. When a court summons any person as a witness upon allowing an application made by the accused under section 311 of the CrPC, which of the following statements is correct? Now this is both a general awareness question because if you read all the answer choices and if you are aware of how exactly the process of examining, cross-examining and re-examining a witness happens in the process of a trial, you'll be able to see that only one of the answer choices, that is option B, makes sense, which is also the answer as per the key. And from a direct question perspective, there is one part of the passage which I have highlighted, which says that the court shall summon and re-examine or recall and re-examine such a person if his evidence appears to be essential to the just decision. So even this part of the passage supports answer choice B. Now let's look at it from a general question perspective and let's see why exactly the other options don't make any sense. Option A says an opportunity for rebuttal must not be given to the prosecution. This doesn't make sense. If there is a witness who is giving witness against me, then I should have every opportunity to rebut such a witness. Therefore, the statement that the opportunity of rebuttal must not be given to the prosecution makes this an incorrect statement. And let's look at option C. This says that there is no question of rebuttal as the witness has been summoned by the court. So what if the witness has been summoned by the court? This again flies against the principles of natural justice if you are not giving the opposite party the opportunity to rebut a witness, whosoever might have called such a witness. Therefore, this also is an incorrect statement. And let's look at option D, which says that whether opportunity of rebuttal is given to the prosecution or not is a matter of the discretion of the court. Now this again is against the principles of natural justice because if a witness has been called into the court, then the opposite party against whom the witness is proceeding should be given an opportunity to rebut such a witness. Therefore, A, C and D don't make any sense. Statement B says that an opportunity of rebuttal must be given to the prosecution. So this is a correct statement and this is the key as per the answer key as well. Passage 12 has been taken not from a case but from the Law Commission of India report number 273 from the year 2017. The length of this passage is 207 words, which is a fairly short passage. You can pause the video here and read the passage that is visible on the screen. Question number 67 is asking us what is the status of India with respect to the United Nations Convention against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman or Degrading Treatment or Punishment from the year 1987. Now I've classified this as a primarily case-based question because if you had read that particular Law Commission report, which is report number 273 from the year 2017, then you'll be able to see that India has signed the convention. However, it has not been ratified. Therefore, option B is the correct answer even as per the answer key. And if you have been following the field of human rights law in India, then you'll be able to see the same information that India has signed but not ratified this particular convention. Question number 68 is asking us which of the following is the legislation proposed by the Law Commission of India report 273 from the year 2017, which seeks to implement the United Nations Convention that we are discussing. Now I've classified this as a case-based question because if you had read this particular report, then there is a part which clearly mentions that a draft bill titled the Prevention of Torture Bill 2017 is annexed with this particular report. Therefore, option A is the correct answer here. Question 69 is asking us which of the following provisions of the Constitution of India provide for protection of persons from torture, other cruel, inhuman and degrading treatment. Now this question is a general awareness question which requires a certain amount of awareness of the important articles from the Constitution of India. If you look at the provisions of Article 23 and 21 and 22.1 and 22.2, you see that all of them essentially cover some aspect of protecting the life, liberty, and preventing the torture or inhuman or degrading treatment of people. Therefore, all of these articles are actually correct answers to some extent or the other. Therefore, when we look at the answer choices, the first option A has 23 and 20 and 21, and the next one mentions Article 21 and 22.1, and the next one mentions 21 and 22.2. Therefore, since all of them are correct, option D, which includes all of the previous options, has to be the logically correct answer, and which is the correct answer even as per the answer key. Question 70. In which of the following cases did the Supreme Court of India, while dealing with a case in which a successful scientist having national reputation had been taken into police custody without any justifying cause, reprimanded the lackadaisical attitude of the police for the arrest, which made the scientist to suffer ignominy, and awarded compensation of rupees 50 lakhs to compensate the suffering, anxiety, and the treatment by which the quintessence of life and liberty under Constitution withers away? Fairly long question. And this is a general awareness question because this information is not included within the passage. And the case that is being referred to here is the Nambi Narayan versus C.B. Matthew case from the year 2015. To use an excerpt from the India Today website, in September 2018, the Supreme Court appointed a 3-member panel headed by the former Justice D.K. Jain, while directing the Kerala government to pay rupees 50 lakh as compensation for compelling Nambi Narayan to undergo immense humiliation. Now, this is a general awareness question because even there is a movie that is being made on this entire episode, which is called Rocketry, the Nambi Effect. Question number 71 is asking us which of the following statements is true with regards to arrest and custody. So this is a general awareness question because these details are not provided within the passage. However, as a law student, you should be aware of what exactly is the term custody and what is the arrest and what are the differences between these two. Now, custody is the act of taking charge or taking control of a person or an item of property for the primary purpose of protection. And the protection is of the person or the item, or it can be others as well. And arrest is the act of apprehending and taking a person into custody, usually because the person has been suspected of or observed committing a crime. Now, when we evaluate all the answer choices, we see that option C, which says that in every arrest there is custody, but not vice versa. And both the words custody and arrest are not synonymous terms. So this is the correct option as per the definition of the terms custody and arrest, and also as per the official answer key. Question number 72 is a fairly long question. It is a general awareness question because the information to answer this question is not available within the passage. Now, in this question, we are talking about a specific case in which the Supreme Court of India, while dealing with the case of a social activist who agitated against the issue of exploitation of people belonging to poor and marginalized sections of the society, was falsely roped in criminal cases, arrested and physically assaulted in police custody. And the Supreme Court of India noted that if the functionaries of the government become lawbreakers, it is bound to breed contempt for law and would encourage lawlessness, and every man would have the tendency to become law unto himself, thereby leading to anarchy. So we are being asked to identify from which particular case this quote by the Supreme Court has been taken. And as per the answer key, the correct answer here is option A, which is Mahmood Nair Azam versus the state of Chhattisgarh from the year 2012. Now, this particular case was again in the news in 2021 because in this particular case, the Supreme Court had awarded a compensation to be paid to the person who was arrested and tortured. And no compensation was paid even up to 2021, leading to an appeal for the same. And this case was again highlighted in various newspapers, and that's how this has become part of the CLAT PG 2021 question paper. With that, we come to the end of this part. I will see you again in the next part of this video series. Please do go to lawmin.com and try the free demo mock tests, and you can buy the mock tests and the previous question paper series for the upcoming exams, including the CLAT PG, ILAT PG, IIT KGP LLM, DU LLM, BHU LLM, and other LLM entrance exams. And you will also find mock tests and previous paper series for the UGC NET Law paper 2. I will see you again in the next episode of this video series. Till then, take care and be safe.